We're going to be learning now the Halacha Psuka for Chok Israel for Friday Parashat Ki Tetze. Usually the halachot on Friday have to do with Hilchot Shabbat. So we're going to be learning some aspects of what is permitted or not permitted to do on Shabbat. HaKorea kedei litfor shetet tefirot chayav. If a person tears, let's say he tears a garment, in order to sew 2 stitches, then he would be liable for transgressing Shabbat. Aval HaKorea le'afsid. But if a person tears in order to destroy, not in order to fix a garment, but just to tear for destroying the garment, Patu, he's exempt from punishment, even though he should not do it on Shabbat. But it doesn't qualify as a sin that would necessitate that he would be liable for punishment. Because he's spoiling, he's destroying, he's not doing something constructive. However, if somebody tears a garment in anger, he's angry and he tears to sort of like cool down his anger, of course it's wrong to do it, but if he did it that way on Shabbat. Or almet, or he did a kriya because he became somebody in his close family, in his immediate family died, where there is an obligation to do kriya, to do a tearing of the garment. Not allowed to do it on Shabbat, but if he did it on Shabbat, and it would be for a relative that he has the obligation to tear the garment on because of mourning for him. Chayav, then in these cases of tearing a garment, even though he's not intending to sew it, he would be liable. Why? מפני שמיישב דעתו בדבר זה וינוח יצרו והואיל וחמתו שוכחת בדבר זה הרי הוא כמתקן וחייב. So he would be liable. Why? Because since he was angry and by tearing the garment, it made his anger quiet down. So there was a constructive purpose, quote unquote, to his tearing. Or if he was tearing because he needed to tear a garment for somebody who passed away, for the mitzvah of doing kri'ah when the close relative passes away. So there was a constructive element in that tearing. Then he would be liable for punishment because he did something constructive through the tearing on Shabbat. And a person who opens a hole for the neck, let's say a pancho, you had a piece of garment. What?
Used to have these garments.
Right.
New ones.
New ones, so pancho, even today you had like a piece of cloth and you made a hole, you tear in the center of the piece of cloth so that you would fit onto, you have a place for your neck to go through, you had to go through. Then the tearing had a purpose for being constructive. Then that tearing is considered to be a sin of transgressing Shabbat, for which the person would be liable for punishment. המדבק ניירות או אורות בקולן של סופרים. If a person glues together papers, or he glues together orot, which is like leather, בקולן של סופרים, with a glue, a scribe's glue, the glue that they use in bookbinding, וכיוצא בו, a similar type of glue, הרי זה תולדת תופר וחייב. Even though he's not sewing, he's just gluing together, that would be a subcategory of sewing, and he would be liable for transgression of sewing on Shabbat. Even though he's not sewing, he's just gluing together. וכן המפרק ניירות דבוקים, אורות דבוקים, ולא נתכוון לקלקל בלבד, הרי זה תולדת קורע בחייו. And also a person who takes apart papers or pieces of leather that were stuck together, is not intending just to destroy it. There was some kind of constructive purpose to it when he separated them. And in such a case, this would be also a subcategory of korea, of tearing, and he would be liable for transgressing Shabbat. The halachot of Shabbat are very specific. There are 39 main categories of activities that are forbidden to do on Shabbat. And any activity for it to be a person to be liable has to be one of these categories or a subcategory of one of these 39 main headings of what is forbidden to do on Shabbat. And this was 2 examples of this type of activity that would be forbidden because it's considered to be one of the 39 melachot, activities that are forbidden on Shabbat. Yes?
separate those two pages.
If there'll be a tikkun, yes. You couldn't read it before. Yeah, anything that would be a tikkun.
No, it's not tearing, because that's in a case when you wouldn't actually be tearing your wax. You're just separating the pages.
Separating, are they glued together?
They're stuck with something there, I know it's not.
Well, it depends.
There'd be some problem of tearing if it actually turned the page.
If it's something that is glued together, that is stuck together in a way that is not separated, and by you separating it you metaken, then you'll be a problem. Because the idea is to be metaken. There is a constructive purpose. If the pages were stuck together, and by you separating them, and they were stuck in a way that is not just, just happen to be, together, they're not, sometimes pages can stick together, you just need to, just like move your fingers around and they separate. But if they're stuck, by being glued, or by the machine maybe have never cut them, they were never cut. And now through you cutting, you're doing a constructive act of fixing something that has a purpose, then there would be, of course, a liability. No, Korea.
Korea in this case, not in order to fix it again.
No, but Korea, there was a constructive purpose. There was a constructive purpose, all right? So that's the idea. Just to summarize, the constructive aspect of tearing is what makes it liable. But if a person was just destroying for destroying's sake, even though he's not supposed to do it, even though that person should not go around and destroying things, but if there is no constructive purpose, then he's not liable for this transgression. Baruch Adonai le'olam, amen.